By the way, Rebecca completely lost it. "I can't see my grandchildren anymore. I can't post anything," she exclaimed, continuing her string of nasty comments about me as if I were possessed. A dream came true for husband and wife team Marcus and Joni Lamb when they founded the Daystar Television Network to broadcast Christian teachings to people around the globe. Since its inception in 1998, the network has worked tirelessly to ensure that its message reaches every corner of the globe. The reason today's show is extra special is that we are going to let you into our hearts. I just want to make it clear right off the bat that our marriage is stronger than it has ever been, and that you and I are strong. It started out as a modest operation, but it swiftly expanded into one of the world's largest Christian broadcasting networks, reaching over 2 billion potential listeners. Thanks to their unwavering commitment and hard work, Marcus and Joni established Daystar as a pivotal figure in contemporary Christian media. I'm fully responsible. Janie and the other person are not to blame either. When asked who was to blame, the Lamb said, "It's all on me. I don't even blame the devil. It's all on me." The Lambs weren't merely the leaders of the network, they were also its stars, making frequent appearances and bonding with viewers. Because of their charisma and unwavering devotion to faith and family, the Christian community had strong feelings about them. Daystar featured a wide variety of programming, including religious services, musical performances, and interviews with prominent Christians such as Joyce Meyer and Joel Osteen, among others. From regular churchgoers to those curious about religion for the first time, the network reached out to all sorts of people. He brings the most positivity to a world filled with negativity. Positive and helpful thoughts should predominate in our minds, according to the Bible. I enjoyed him, so pay attention to him. A glimmer of optimism for the future can be found in returning to religious practices. If you maintain your optimism and trust, the greatest is yet to come. Part of Daystar's success came from its ability to adapt to new times. Many Christian groups were struggling to keep up with the times, but Marcus and Joni were able to reach more people using new tools. Daystar invested much in online platforms, social media, and satellite broadcasts to guarantee that their message could be heard globally and at any time. Even though digital alternatives were causing traditional TV to lose popularity, the network remained current thanks to its forward-thinking nature. Daystar maintained its position as the leading Christian television network by consistently innovating. The public perception of Marcus and Joni played a significant role in Daystar's achievement. They came across as a tight-knit religious family who actually practiced what they preached. Marcus had a reputation for being a reliable boss who firmly oversaw the financial and operational aspects of the network. However, Joni succeeded in making viewers and donors feel like they knew her on television, particularly on her talk show, Table Talk. This was due to their shared effort in establishing credibility and genuineness. Their love, faith, and perseverance story shaped Daystar's character and lent credibility to the network's portrayal of itself as a Christian-based media outlet. The influence Daystar had over institutions and funds increased in tandem with its expansion. The network was transmitting signals to nearly every nation by the mid-2000s. This made it a vital resource for groups and individuals seeking global exposure for their messages. Partnerships with prominent religious leaders helped elevate Daystar's profile, and the company's successful fundraising campaigns generated successful capital for ongoing operations and future expansion. Many attributed the network's success to its innovative media strategy and its strong faith-based leadership. However, Daystar's meteoric rise wasn't without its challenges. Pressure to maintain the network's public image and find a way to run a family-led business increased as the network expanded. There was a blurring of lines between ministry and corporate management due to Marcus and Joni's dual roles as spiritual leaders and company directors. As a result, tensions within the church began to rise. At its peak, though, Daystar appeared unstoppable, a shining illustration of the power of faith, media, and desire. Daystar had already grown into one of the world's most influential Christian networks by the time Marcus Lamb passed away in 2021. Because his death signified the end of an era, the network found itself at a crossroads following his passing. Joni was entrusted with the responsibility of continuing the shared vision they had created. Though it began with solid foundations, Daystar would face increasing criticism and internal issues in the years to come, testing its ability to sustain its success. From its humble beginnings as a dream in 1998, the concept had gone global. Its fate now rested on its ability to navigate the ever-shifting world while maintaining its faith, leadership, and responsibility. More stories await me that I have not yet shared. For instance, Jonathan escorted our children to a mutual friend's birthday celebration. Although I was absent the following day, Pete's wife informed me, "Pete's so heartbroken she wouldn't come close to him the whole party." She went on to say, "She needs to say sorry to Pete. There are numerous untold stories that I am avoiding divulging in order to avoid implicating this man in any wrongdoing. The cops will take care of it." Daystar Television Network's once invincible reputation has some holes in it, shaken to its very foundation by allegations of sexual abuse and poor leadership. Jonathan Lamb and his wife Susie's accusations have upset many. They claim that their young daughter was sexually abused by a relative of Daystar's. According to them, the abuse occurred many years ago. In 2020, the police were initially dismissed due to a lack of evidence, despite the fact that it had been reported. I was let go the following day, November 16th, after a reporter contacted Daystar on November 15th to request a comment. Approximately 2 years ago, there were numerous matters that we were not allowed to discuss, but we provided all of the relevant evidence to various news outlets, including the police department. However, fresh details regarding the case surfaced in 2024, prompting a thorough examination of Daystar's leadership and its handling of the matter. The abuse, according to Jonathan and Susie, was a terrible betrayal of trust and evidence of deeper issues within Daystar's administration. Rather than seek justice for their daughter, they claimed that Joni and the late Marcus Lamb urged them not to go to court, prioritizing the public image of the network. They claimed they felt this way out of concern that Daystar's reputation as a community that prioritizes faith and family values would take a hit in the event of a scandal. The fact that the individuals entrusted with safeguarding them and their child chose not to defend them made the betrayal all the more painful for Jonathan and Susie, compounding the initial pain. Fearful events, such as being pursued by private investigators, threatened and intimidated, did not derail progress. And so it began. We felt compelled to speak with a journalist. After all, bringing something to light always leads to improvements, so that's exactly what we did. The new investigation has certainly shed light on Daystar's inner workings. Skeptics are asking how a Christian organization could be so inept at dealing with allegations of this nature. A lot of people thought this was a worrying trend, where controlling one's image and keeping secrets were more important than being honest and taking responsibility. Daystar's leadership, spearheaded by Joni Lamb, is facing mounting criticism for their lack of transparency. A lot of people think the group is attempting to cover up the accusations instead of dealing with them directly. Daystar fired Jonathan Lamb in late 2024, according to Lamb's public statements, because Lamb attempted to expose the abuse and demand accountability from within the company. All of this has exacerbated the conflict. However, Joni Lamb has denied these accusations, stating that Jonathan's refusal to participate in a plan to enhance his work was the reason for his termination. This constant back and forth has exacerbated public mistrust. Everyone is now aware of the family feud. It was detrimental to Daystar's image as a cohesive and ethical business. Despite my deep pain, I had a strong sense from the Lord that I should remain in the position He had appointed me for. Since Susie and I do not feel safe at home, we will not be informing anyone of our whereabouts. Many in faith-based organizations are questioning the accountability of their leaders in light of these allegations. A number of individuals have pointed out that Daystar's silence on the abuse allegations is indicative of a larger issue within religious organizations, namely that members may prioritize protecting their reputations above seeking justice. Some have speculated that powerful individuals inside the company are able to make decisions with little to no external oversight. The Lamb family has been through a lot. Joni was publicly alienated when Jonathan and Susie spoke out. This has further exacerbated tensions within the family and highlighted the difficulty of maintaining healthy work-life balance in a family-run church. And Joni Lamb has done her best to back her leadership, citing her faith and the fact that she wants to continue Marcus Lamb's work as the reasons for her decisions. Unfortunately, more speculation has ensued despite her efforts to maintain control of the story. A lot of people are starting to doubt that the group can mend fences without being honest about these issues. Daystar's credibility as a platform for Christian values has taken a hit due to allegations of abuse and poor leadership. Because of this, many have pondered the tension between doing the right thing and being too loyal to one's employer. The investigation is ongoing, but Daystar's credibility has already taken a major hit. Even if it costs the company something, being accountable, doing the right thing, and protecting the weakest are more important than anything else. This is a sobering lesson on that. Just so you know, more than one national writer has been given all the evidence. They ought to be penning tales that will soon make headlines by this afternoon. This is going to be our life. We didn't know that. After months of pleading with God, we finally had to follow His lead. He makes it more difficult by saying, "You have to speak." Leaving would have been easier, but if He calls us, we must obey. He has been our guide and our source of peace throughout this difficult journey. However, I do want to offer you some encouragement. Even in the midst of utter chaos and misery, God sees the broader picture. The Lamb family's narrative took a dramatic turn in late 2024 with Jonathan Lamb's dismissal from Daystar Television Network. Following his public accusations of wrongdoing within the organization, Jonathan's relationship with Daystar deteriorated. Jonathan had been considered the clear choice to succeed Marcus Lamb for some time. What had begun as a religiously motivated family business had devolved into a battleground for employees' incessant bickering and unresolved differences. When Jonathan and Susie informed everyone that a Daystar family member had been sexually abused and that Marcus and Joni Lamb had advised them not to seek justice, the argument escalated. Jonathan, a pivotal figure in the network's administration, stated that safeguarding his daughter and ensuring the group's moral responsibility were his top priorities. His actions infuriated Joni, who prioritized the network's reputation and safety in her role as president of Daystar. The rift in the family became evident when their private quarrels escalated into a public brawl. In November 2024, Jonathan was abruptly let go from Daystar. Joni explained her choice by claiming that Jonathan was undermine her authority and refused to participate in a plan to improve performance. She made it public that Jonathan was attempting to usurp Marcus Lamb's position as network head by claiming he didn't want Joni to do so, contrary to what his father had clearly desired. To her, losing her job was an inevitable cost of doing business as usual. Jonathan, on the other hand, saw it as retribution for his advocacy of transparency and criticism of ineffective leadership. Jonathan released a statement after his dismissal that painted a drastically different picture of what transpired. He claimed his mother prioritized control and image over justice and family unity, and that his firing was an act of vengeance. He justified his actions by saying he wanted to ensure the organization's integrity and that it would uphold its stated principles. The allegations made by each side demonstrated how deeply divided the family was and how hopeless the prospects of reconciliation seemed. He will see us through as long as we follow his rules, tell the truth, and stand for what is right. I know he will. Your prayers have helped, but I must say that this journey has not been easy. Really, we have remained faithful to what God called us to do, even though it has been a difficult and long road. Just take a look at all the proof that is piling up. There is a purpose for the evidence that God has given us. We have learnt a lot and endured a lot in the past few years, but it hasn't been easy. Please don't rely on intuition or hearsay alone. Instead, check the evidence. The public nature of the conflict added fuel to the fire, and Daystar fans were deeply divided over who they believed should be in charge. Some sided with Joni, believing she was doing her best to steer the network through a difficult time, while others admired Jonathan's bravery in challenging the status quo and standing up for what he believed in. The revelation of the complaints was shocking and terrible for an organization whose principles are grounded in faith and family. Some people said that the family-run structure of Daystar made it hard to tell the difference between personal and professional duties, which led to Jonathan's firing. A lot of people wondered if Daystar's leaders were really committed to transparency, or if the organization had turned into something closed off and only cared about keeping its power. Jonathan's firing became a symbol of how hard it is for faith-based groups to find a balance between family issues and work integrity. Even though things were going badly, Joni Lamb stayed strong in her leadership, saying that her choices were based on faith and a desire to honor Marcus's memory. But the problems in the Lamb family have hurt Daystar's image for a long time. The fallout for Jonathan was both emotional and business. It was a pain. The family's fight is still being watched by many people, and it's a lesson in how unresolved problems can weaken even the best roots. Seeming roots, it's been a long, hard road, but God will bring everything to light in the end. Now that everyone has had plenty of time to change their minds, it's time to finally show the truth about what happened. Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness, but instead expose them, says Ephesians 5:11 and 11. For a time is coming when everything that is covered will be revealed, and all that is secret will be made known to all. That's exactly what we'll be seeing here in the next week or two. As these articles come out, I pray that God will clean up the body of Christ and that he is honored and glorified through a process of repentance, which lets people who have been silenced speak up and get justice. The debate over how Daystar Television Network was started has not only shook the organization up from the inside, but it has also caused a big drop in trust among its church partners, many of whom have been key to its success for a long time. One of the most important things about Daystar is that it can work with well-known Christian groups and leaders. This has helped it build a global audience and an image as a reliable place to watch faith-based shows. But when claims of wrongdoing, bad leadership, and family problems were made public, church partners started to wonder if their ties to the network were in line with their own goals and values. Joyce Meyer Ministries, a longtime partner and a major player in Christian television, was one of the most well-known groups to leave. The ministry said in January 2025 that it would no longer be airing its shows on Daystar, claiming serious accusations against the network as the reason for the move. Joyce Meyer's son, Dan Meyer, who is also the CEO of the ministry, made it clear in a statement that they were committed to truth and ethics, and that they could no longer support a network that was involved in such scandals. Losing a partner as good as Meyer was terrible for Daystar, both financially and spiritually, because it sent a strong message to the Christian community. Calling Joyce Meyer's office, a news reporter wanted to know, "Are you going to cancel your show on Daystar? At what point did you become aware of the allegations of abuse?" The decision to leave by Joyce Meyer Ministries caused other mission partners to reconsider their partnerships with Daystar. Reports indicate that many groups and leaders discussed behind closed doors whether remaining connected to the network would bring shame to their own names. For some, the choice was obvious. They needed to distance themselves from Daystar to maintain the trust of their followers and demonstrate accountability. I think Joyce Meyer is a hero. She dealt with abuse, talked about it, got better, and forgave them a lot. On the flip side, some groups were reluctant to cut ties because they were afraid of losing the exposure and audience that Daystar provided. Government partners were not the only ones who lost faith in Daystar. As the network came under increasing scrutiny, many wondered if its leaders could restore trust and manage the situation competently. Joni Lamb's public replies focused more on defending her leadership than on the claims themselves, which failed to reassure many of the network's most important partners. Some worried that Daystar could lose both its partners and its main audience unless it promised to be transparent and change. The damage transcended concerns about its image. As sponsors and ministries withdrew their funding from the network, Daystar came under increasing pressure to respond to the claims and take steps to restore its reputation. People who watched and supported the organization were afraid it would lose its power and reach, and the loss of trusted government partners made them feel even more let down. Daystar was important to many as a spiritual source and a symbol of honesty in the larger Christian media landscape. Daystar struggled to replace prominent speakers like Joyce Meyer, which exacerbated the network's already declining reputation. While some remained loyal to the Lambs and their Daystar ambitions, others sought out alternative platforms that better reflected their values. Daystar will have a tough time getting back on its feet after this crisis, as problems have arisen due to mission partners losing faith in the company. In order to restore confidence, the network must alter its approach to accountability, transparency, and leadership, which will require more than just defensive remarks and business as usual.